Hi, I'm Donae Buabeng, and welcome to yet another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. Now, today I'm going to be talking about how the journey of purpose is actually peace. Now, here's the reasons why. When you have finally committed to walking on your journey of purpose, and you have finally committed to just becoming one with your destiny, the result of that commitment is actually peace. God's peace is found on the journey that He calls you on. There is no other way to become one with God than actually living a life that is centered on His promises and plans written over your life. Now, how do I know this? You may be asking yourself. Let me use my life for an example for you. I was actually at the top of my career. I had this doctoral degree with all the fancy bells and whistles, you may call it. I felt somehow invincible and on top of the world with this particular degree. It was I was actually the first person in my family to even have this doctorate degree. Therefore, to everyone, I was the one who deserved to be modeled and placed on this, I would call, man-made pedestal, right? So I reveled in all my accomplishments as well. I felt even more confident, even though superficially I was struggling. But I loved all the just everyone seeing me as this model and this person who was just the example, the role model for others to follow, right? So even though I got all that from the accomplishments I made, however, as we know with anything that's man-made, it doesn't last long. All of that, it just goes away after a time of you having gotten all that joy, that pleasure, or anything that comes with something we have, desired for ourselves on a man-made level. After that, everything goes away. The joy of the accomplishments fades and everything. And you find yourself now, even at the point of questioning, why am I here and why all of this that I've done for myself before, why it doesn't feel like I connect with it anymore. So this is the thing. When we do things that are made from man-made instead of doing things that are God-made, that's the result of it in the end. That's the result of us feeling now that we don't have that joy or that peace anymore in doing something that we ourselves built for ourselves. Now, this was the same thing in my life. I now struggled with that career, that doctoral degree that I had that had put me on this pedestal. Here I am in front of God, now struggling with it after all the bells and whistles and everything that I connected myself with at that point when all of it had faded away. Now, yes, to some of you, it may seem that, yeah, I'm on top of this world with this degree. What am I worried about? It gave me the finances that I needed and everything like that. And yes, I was in the top 2% of the earning income potential at that point as well. Because I was earning this salary that many people don't really have the luxury of getting. And so yes, here I was with all this financial gain as well from such an accomplishment, right? However, after having started this career, I began to struggle. I began to struggle with it after a few years into it, actually. Because there was something about this career that it didn't sit well with me after some time. I seriously tried to mask it. I tried to mask the feelings that I had, that something just didn't connect. I didn't feel accomplished. I didn't feel something was just not right with what I was doing. So I literally moved from job to job. I was like a yo-yo, as you would say. I went from career to career, job to job, trying to find something that would make me feel at peace, will make me feel balanced. But I didn't find that. Even though I tried different areas of my career as a pharmacist, I still had that internal struggle day in, day out, even though, yes, I was doing different things. I went from a retail pharmacist to a mail order pharmacist to a compounding pharmacist. And it was just like a cycle going from different jobs to just find that one that would make me feel at peace, would make me feel satisfied, and would make me feel like I'm actually accomplishing something that I wanted to accomplish for myself. But I didn't get that while I was on that career. Now, after having not found that connection or whatever I thought I needed at that time in that career, I just began to numb that pain away. I just continued with it. I was unhappy there, but I just became just settled into it, even though internally I was still struggling with the life and the choices that I had made at that point. So yes, I felt that the career that I had chose ended up becoming for me a nightmare. And after having done that for quite a few years, I now started to question the very existence of my life, my very existence with God, my very existence with who I was and who God was calling me to be. So these were the questions that I have asked myself, and maybe some of you are at the point where you're asking yourself these questions as well. Questions like, why am I here? Questions like, is this what you are calling me to do, God? I don't feel connected here. Maybe some of you you're even fighting yourself with the careers that you even picked for yourself too. And some of you had these careers for years, just struggling through it. And you know it's not where you feel connected. You know that something is wrong, but you're still going through that internal struggle and turmoil. And for some of you too, you might be masking it like I did, trying to push it away, brush your feelings away, trying to do this suck it up and just do it sort of scenario when you know internally you are fighting a battle that you don't know why. And these are the questions that many of you will ask when you reach to a point where you don't feel connected to what you are, to who you are, and to who God is calling you to be. So yes, we ask these questions, like I like to say, when we are at the end of ourselves. And many of you are also finding yourself that just being tired, being frustrated, and just being done with where you are. And that is what I call, yes, becoming at the end of yourselves. So at the end of yourself, you're tired now of trying to build a life that, is completely the opposite of what God is actually calling you to. You're tired of being at the end of, you're tired of being in the life where it's not who God was building for you. It's not the life that God had every intentions of giving you or bringing you to. Because this is the thing. Did you actually ask God for that life that you thought was yours to live? Was it in His plan for you? Was it something you picked because of anything? For financial reasons, maybe? To please a family friend or to please a family member or a friend or anything that you thought was the right decision for you at the time without even asking of God, if this was in fact what He was what He was calling you to do in your life and in your destiny, right? But here's the beautiful thing about God, which is what I love, that God always will meet us exactly where we are. He's not going to just say, well, you picked that road, see you later. No, He's not that type of God. And He will actually do everything that He can to bring you to that point of realization that you're not where you're supposed to be. You're on the wrong path. And He wants you to just be committed to, now that you're there at that roadblock, to just go on the path that He's calling you to live the life that He has in store for you to live, and to be finally at one and at peace with yourself and with who you are. So what's the result of that life? You may be asking me, what's the result of a life that I take when I'm going on God's path instead of my path? The result of that is actually peace. You are at peace with the life that God calls you to and not the latter. Now, when you're where God needs you to be, it could be at any stage of your life, any point or stage of your life, you're going to become at peace with that. That's a difference that many of us don't really understand about a life that is lived with God. Like we tend to forget for the most part that whatever he calls us to, he actually knows that path, and it's a path that's filled with peace. And for the most part, many of us too will blame the devil for the life that was probably not ours to live in the first place. Like we feel the turmoil, we feel the chaotic up and down, the shifting, everything just doesn't seem okay. It's disconnected. That wasn't the life God had planned for us, because the life that God plans for each and every single one of us will be at peace. We will be at peace internally. There is something about that life that you cannot change, you cannot question, because you love it, you love getting up to it each day, and you become one with it. So believe me when I say to you that sometimes it's really not about the enemy coming to us to fight us or all these turmoils and battles that we probably will be facing. It's not any of that. Rather, it's actually you fighting yourself. You're fighting against the displeasure of the life that you built for yourself without even asking God about it. You're fighting, with what you planned, with the life you built, with the career you chased after. You're actually fighting with that and not anything else. So yes, the path you choose for yourself, it will have obstacles that maybe you were not meant to even carry, because it wasn't your journey to take up in the first place. So all these toxic situations that, yes, I faced, I'm giving you an example of my own life, all these toxic situations that I faced in my career, it was never God's best for me. And now I know that to be true, that wasn't it wasn't my path. I picked that path based on my desires at the time, and it just wasn't what God was calling me to. Because what he was requiring of me to do right now in this new season of my life is so much more rewarding and fulfilling. That's the difference. When you pick a career or a lifestyle or anything that you go into, is it more rewarding and fulfilling? Did you pick it for a financial gain? It's going to feel different than if you picked it for something that's more rewarding and fulfilling. So now in my life, I get to be a mom and to take care of my family, which was a strong desire of mine in the beginning. I also get to work with women through their journey of motherhood and to also help them as well, help anyone actually who's struggling with finding their God-given purpose. Now, I get to wake up each day also feeling a bit more accomplished than yesterday, because there's always something there for me to do each and every single day to help to encourage others, to help to inspire and motivate others to just go on your God-given journey as well. So I get to do the things that gives me life because it's actually who I am. This is who I am. I love being a mother. I love taking care of my family. I love inspiring others, encouraging other mothers on their journey. And I also love to encourage people to also go after their God-given purpose and destiny. So yes, I am now at peace with who God created me to be. And this is the result of you yourself going on a journey that God is calling you to go on. Now, that journey for you, it may be different. It's not going to be anything like mine. I have my own journey, and you will also have your own journey to live. So what have you yourself struggled with for many years? Many of you already know these things that you've struggled with for many years. Yes, what have you felt disconnected from? Whether it be maybe a lifestyle, a career change, environment, choices that you have made before, financial decisions that you have made that it doesn't work with what you're doing currently. If it's something that just doesn't seem to be a life of peace, then that's the question that you need to ask God for yourself. If you are actually on the right journey that He's calling you to, or if you have also departed from that journey that He may have chosen for you rather than what you're currently doing right now. So it's totally up to you to actually find that out and to ask God. Ask God for more insights on what that could have been or how different it could have been for you on your particular journey. So maybe that career you thought your parents wanted for you, it no longer serves you. Or the career, because of the financial rewards that you had gotten in the beginning, even though, you're struggling right now, like I did, to hold on to it. Because you're also miserable with what it takes to even get that six-figure salary or whatever it is you thought that financial gain would have gotten you. So do the self-exam with yourself. Do the self-exam, and in the midst of that pause, just take a moment to just look at your life, look at what you're currently struggling with, and really, really ask the Lord if you're on the right path that He's actually calling you to. So I did. When I came to the end of myself, as I mentioned earlier, I took that pause and I asked the Lord, what did I get myself into? And if this was actually the path that He was calling me on. So this is the same thing that I want you to do for yourselves, to really take a look, to analyze your own life and to see if the path that you're currently on is what God is actually calling you to. He already knows your heart. He already knows your intentions for choosing that life or career that you did anyway. And He already knows the reasons behind it. So there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to hide from, because God already knows who you are. He already knows everything. So the only thing we have to do is just to come face to face with the God who loves us and wants the very best for us, and to ask Him if we are actually on the right path and the journey that He's calling us to. So yes, also trust Him with the rediscovery phase of your life. Because as I've mentioned before, the result of your commitment to go on God's path is what? It's actually peace. The choice that we make to do what God is calling us to is actually peace. Now, this peace doesn't even care about your circumstances. You may not even have pennies behind your name, but you still have internal peace because you know you're on the path God is calling you to. That's also an indicator that's for us to know as well that we are on the right journey. We can be in the worst of circumstances, situations, but internally we are at peace because yes, we are where we're supposed to be. We're writing that book that God is calling us to. That's the result of peace. We're doing that career that God is calling us to. That's the result. As a result of that, we have peace. Now, this is what I call internal peace. Internal peace is what helps you to determine whether you're on the right path or not. It's being at peace with finally who you are and who and how God has created you to be. It's finally being at peace with your gifts, your talents, your abilities that many of us either hide away or we don't want to embrace them as it being who we are. Now, if only we knew how powerful we are when we actually step out of our own normal existence for a bit and follow after God's heart. Because it's total peace when you follow after the Creator who made you uniquely to fulfill a specific purpose and destiny that He's actually calling you to here on earth. So you don't have to fight anymore. Your battle with yourself ends when you become one with your purpose. And that, my friend, is peace. Internal peace that you cannot ever get rid of. Never-ending peace, I also call it. The peace that is filled with joy because you now love who you are and who God is actually calling you to be. That peace I call is a peace that also surpasses all understanding and just rests and abides with us all. So whatever you do moving forward in your life, chase wholeheartedly after that peace. You will understand later. How do I know? because I've been on that journey before, and I'm encouraging you and telling you that it's the best thing that you can do for yourself is to just take the moment to find out if you are actually on the right path, the right purpose, the right journey that God is calling you to. And if you're actually using those gifts, talents, and abilities that God has placed inside of you to give Him glory. So do that for yourself. And remember, it's just peace. Peace that you cannot ever, you'll understand when you get to that point. It's hard for me to even explain it because I just know. It's just a knowing that you're in the right place. So for you, if you want to also have that knowing and that understanding for yourself, make it a decision to just go after what God is calling you to do and to just commit to that. And trust me, peace will be the result of your obedience. So thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. Now, I do have a podcast available as well that you can follow and listen at your own pace to also learn more about how to rediscover or discover your own purpose and destiny that God has planned for you. Also, if you haven't gotten any of my books, I wrote 2 books that will help to inspire and encourage you as well on your journey of purpose and destiny. My first book, I Am Who God Says I Am, always be inspired to live the life God has planned for you to live. It talks about my own story, my journey of me moving from a life that I wasn't at peace with to now moving in the life that gives me so much more peace. Every day I wake up, I get to do exactly what I love doing. And also, I wrote a book about a balanced life, moving from a dysfunctional life to a more purposeful one. And it's another tool that you can use to help you also to navigate your journey and to move you yourself. You get to ask these questions whether you're on your right journey. You're on the journey that God is also calling you to be on. So get both copies of my book, I Am Who God Says I Am, and A Balanced Life. And I pray that it will also help you and inspire and encourage you also to go on your purpose-driven journey. So until next time, I do thank you once again for watching. Bye.